Chapter 6. Peter. For all of Peter's personality traits, he likes to think of himself as a pretty amicable person. He doesn't really hold grudges. He gets annoyed, sure, and fed up like any other teenager. But it isn't the same thing. No. Peter's a bit too empathetic. A bit too able to envision himself in someone else's shoes. Some say it's admirable. Some say it's neat. Others say it's going to be his downfall. But it's not like he actively chooses to be. It just happens. He remembers all the lessons he had drilled into his head in elementary school by well-meaning teachers and guidance counselors and cheesy posters taped in classroom walls. Kill them with kindness. If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all. Treat others the way you want to be treated. It's not to say he doesn't have a limit, though. A lot of things are on Peter's do not tolerate list. It's usually reserved for Spider-Man patrols only, because he doesn't have the courage to confront people on a day-to-day basis unless a mask is thrown over his face. Animal abusers, child abusers, abusers in general, pedophiles, people who steal from old ladies, racists, homophobes, bigots, bullies. Peter has known bullies more than he knows anything else. He knows that beyond most. If not all of them are insecurities a mile wide and a desperate need to be in control of the situation. He knows he's a prime target. Scrawny looking, quiet, easily walked over, openly LGBT+ to boot. But if that stops them from going after the ones who are less privileged than him, then he'll put up with it. It's what he does. Once those same people are involved, though, it becomes a lot harder to tolerate. He's in the middle of a test when the fire alarm starts blaring, startling him so much he almost knocks the book off his desk. Luckily, no one's looking at him, because they're all equally as surprised. Despite Mr. Taylor's protests, everyone rushes to the door. They are normally supposed to go outside in an orderly fashion and stand around their teachers during the fire drill so they could account for everyone, though it doesn't really seem like one, because they always tell them when they're happening the morning of. But chaos and confusion is not a good mix, and Peter ends up totally separated from his class, out near a football field. Kids are yelling at each other, saying things like, "I heard someone pulled it as a prank, and thank fucking God I almost had to present that dumb slideshow," and Peter snorts. MJ and Ned are nowhere to be found. Ned stayed home, something about a nasty cough, and MJ is only seen when she wants to be, so he leans back against a rusty fence, idly untangling his earbuds so he can listen to some music. His eyes keep drifting towards a group of boys a few feet away from him, who are pushing each other around in jest. He tries to ignore their facial hair, their flat chests, and their deep laugh. Everything that he will never, ever come to Peter without hormones. But trying isn't the same as managing to. He vaguely wonders if there's an actual fire going on as right now, so he can just throw himself into it. Lost in his own head, Peter isn't expecting it when someone rams into his shoulder. Hey, penis, Flash starts, as mocking as ever. He takes a step back, but gives him a fake sympathetic look. Sorry, didn't see you there. I guess you're that forgettable. It's strange. Ever since Peter came out all those months ago, Flash went oddly radio silent. He still cracked a joke here and there, but never missed an opportunity, much less an acknowledgement. Less shoving in the halls, everything. It's almost like he announced he had a contagious disease or something. Leeds isn't here? Flash asks. Shame. He's like your sidekick at this point, right? Peter's nose wrinkles, but doesn't respond. Did he always know? He frowns. It's not the kind of question he'd be anticipating. What? Flash grins, like he just won some sort of invisible contest between them. Before you told everyone, did he know you used to be a girl, or did you lie to him too? The next gulp of air Peter was about to suddenly take disappears. He chokes on nothing. Used to be a girl. He wasn't. He never was one. He just thought so because everyone pushed onto him to believe it, and he didn't lie, did he? He wasn't lying. That's what Tony told him once. He was just afraid. And it's okay, because he was protecting himself. It's okay, because he was only ever afraid. Isn't it? Aw, don't be like that, Flash says. You know, I identify as an attack helicopter, so it's okay, I support you. Peter stares down at the grass, kicking it lightly with his shoe. Inside him is on rampage, a cacophony of feelings that won't stop, but if he's quiet for long enough, doesn't show any emotion for long enough, Flash goes away. It's like playing dead in front of a bear. Ironically, he does go away, but it's somehow worse. What are you looking at? Peter's head snaps up, and his stomach drops, all at the same time. A boy with mousy brown hair and a hunched over frame shrinks back from Flash as if he just got burned. His backpack is swung over one shoulder, and Peter notices it before anyone else. It's clear the black strap of it is stuck to it is a pride flag, the kind you might see at a pride parade or online. No one. What? What? Do you have a problem? Flash demands, before inevitably noticing the pin as well. Of course, you all flock to each other, huh? A freak meeting? A small, dark, shameful part of Peter tells him someone else will take care of it. Someone else will stop this, right? But that part is rooted in fear and the nerves of a 10-year-old boy who recoiled from the slightest touch and has no idea who or what he was. It's not Spider-Man. In fact, it's everything Spider-Man is against. Flash, please shut up. Peter's not even aware those words have left him until the following dead silence reaches his ears. Some people in the surrounding crowds are staring at him, including Flash. He seems the most surprised, looking at Peter as if he's grown a second head. What did you say, Parker? Instead of the usual meekness that twists his way in his throat and leaves him incapable of saying anything, Peter shoots a glance at the younger boy, a grade or two below him, his too large backpack and a terrified expression is anything to go by. He feels a surge of something he very rarely does. Anger. Peter faces Flash directly and snaps, "You know calling me that won't make your masculinity any less fragile." A chorus of ohs happen after that. "Excuse me? You heard what I said." "Fight," someone yells for no apparent reason, but no one listens. They're all too transfixed by the sight of someone actually standing up to Flash, let alone that someone being Peter. Flash sputters. Why, I don't think you're a bad person," Peter continues. He can feel anxiety crawl up his legs, making everything a little wobbly, but he pushes it forward anyway. "I don't think you're even being transphobic on purpose." What the hell is, "I can take it, you know." Not exactly true. He spent one too many nights awake, mind repeating on casually the snide comments that were imprinted on the back of his eyelids. But he did nothing to you. So for once in your life, shut up. Peter is regretting the words as soon as he says them, but he can't stop. He can see the headlines now. Midtown teen is killed after running his mouth too much. More at 11. "Please go back to your class," a woman shouts from the megaphone. "It was a false alarm. Everything's being handled. Go back to your next hour class." That snaps everyone out of their trance. Most listen, making their way towards the school. Flash opens his mouth to say something, but he closes it. If looks could kill, Peter would more than likely be dead by now. He storms off. Turning to go in, he jumps when he sees the other boy standing next to him. "Hey," Peter says awkwardly, everything telling him to ditch and run home. Maybe find Tony and May and panic about what he just did. But it'd be a dick move if someone he helped then proceeded to ignore them. Sorry about Flash. He's always like that. But yeah." The boy grimaces, breathes in shakily. "Yeah, I could tell." They look at each other, then burst out laughing. "I'm sorry, this isn't funny," the boy says, though his giggle says differently. My name's Harley. Thank you, by the way. I'm new, so." Peter nods. I get it. He doesn't really, but no one needs to know that. Gesturing at the familiar blue, white, and pink pin on Harley's backpack, he forces out, your. Harley looks down at it as well, then back up a little apprehensively. He must decide he can trust Peter, however, because then he smiles. "Trans? Yeah, him pronouns." "Me too," he says without thinking, then immediately turns red. I'm trans too, you know. You know that. I'm just gonna stop talking now. If Peter had $1 for every time he messed up a conversation with his stammering, he could move to a place far, far away and never have to talk to anyone. Ever. Hardy doesn't seem to mind, though, because he keeps smiling. "Cool, I guess we gotta, stick together, huh?" Stick together. No one's ever told Peter that before. Ned, MJ, Tony, Happy, they never said, "Let's stick together." They just showed it, by staying at his side and defending him when he needed to be defended and never leaving, no matter what. Just showing it is as real as saying it, and it's given him the strength he had a few minutes ago. But just to hear the word for someone who's not a bystander, just not a person constantly trying to understand the ins and outs of gender identity, someone who really is like Peter. It's different. It's different, but in a good way. Peter smiles too. I guess so.